Imagine a scenario where a young girl, 11 years old, let's say, is on social media late at night without her parents' knowledge. Now, as you could imagine, there are multiple harmful outcomes that could happen in this situation, but I'm going to give you two. One of which being she finds herself on an Instagram page of an Instagram model. Now, this model is posing in very little clothing, exposing a lot of her skin. This 11-year-old, while looking at this woman, is going to think, why does she look like that? And why do I look like this? And maybe even, how do I look more like her and less like myself? Now, these are really alarming feelings for an 11-year-old to have, considering it's such a young age. We don't want our 11-year-old girls looking at unrealistic pictures, edited pictures, of models who could even have an eating disorder and comparing themselves to that type of person. Another scenario would be the same girl, the same 11-year-old girl, receives a message on Instagram from someone claiming to be the same age as her, asking where she lives and asking to meet up. So due to the emotional immaturity of this young girl, she may respond and give this person all the information they're asking, totally unaware to the fact that this is an online predator. Now, these are two very alarming situations, but unfortunately are so likely to happen online on an everyday basis. I think it's very clear that as adults, we need to protect our children from being in any kind of situation that could result in these outcomes. 4 in 10 parents admit that they have children from the ages 3 to 5 that use at least one online social media app, the Center of Social Justice finds. This is extremely alarming. 3 to 5 years old, there are so many things that children at this age could be doing rather than being online, a place where many dangerous outcomes can occur. In fact, in Australia, they are cracking down on these rules. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, X, Snapchat, YouTube can now be fined up to 50 million Australian dollars if they do not take serious repercussions in making sure that children under the age of 16 are not on social media. Rod McGurk finds from AP Online. Kids are using social media at an age younger than they ever have before. There are serious damaging effects that are happening, and we need to really discuss this problem. Overall, guidelines and age requirements are extremely easy to get by. All you do is scroll past that year that makes you 16 or 18, and there you are. You have a social media account. There's no real preventable thing to stop children from getting online and making profiles at this point in time. Millions of underage kids are using social media every single year, and it's actually could be preventable if we just had a little bit more of a discussion. One of the many impacts, along with the few other that I've already listed, is the mental health impact that happens on children who participate in social media usage. Increased anxiety, depression, there's an increased negative body image. Children are comparing themselves. They're, disturbing parts of themselves that they didn't even think about before. And now they're looking online and they're, realizing this person has this and I don't have this, and I look like this and they don't look like this. They're tearing themselves apart, and the negative effects are really starting to show. Charles Hymas from the Daily Telegraph writes that according to government-backed research, children who view harmful things online are extremely more likely to cause physical harm to someone else in real life. So not only is social media causing negative feelings toward themselves for children, they are now more likely to take this negative feeling and exert it onto somebody else. The exposure to predators and dangerous content is more accessible than ever before. Children are not living in years of maturity that they should be. You talk to kids these days and while speaking to them, you feel like they should be at least 5 years older than they actually are with the things they know, what they're talking about. It honestly feels just really sad for the kids because they're living in an age that they shouldn't be living in. They're exposed to things that they should not be exposed to. Children lack emotional maturity to handle situations, dangerous situations they may find online. For me, if I were to come across a harmful website, I'm immediately clicking off of it. I know the signs that, wow, this could be harmful and I don't want to proceed further on this website. However, a child who's under 11 years old, under 16, they might go forward on that website and be exposed to predators. Even just as simple as being exposed to their computer getting hacked and all of their information on their computer being leaked. There are multiple harmful effects that could happen. The developmental interference, excessive screen time in young kids. We see, parents being out to eat with their child, and their child's immediately given a tablet. The child is no longer speaking to their parents. They're not engaging in conversation. They're not, just taking in the environment and being outside in a social environment. They're glued down to that tablet, and that's all they're doing. Most of the time, they're not even eating their food. This is so harmful. The attention spans are gone. The social development is gone. The screen time has to be cut down. Clearly, this problem is real, it's harmful, but most likely we are able to overcome it if we just show more attention to it and really start to take action. One of the ways I believe that we could cut down the likelihood of kids being online and having profiles when they're not supposed to, and talking to predators or viewing dangerous content, is making it a government-issued request or a government-issued ID form when you go to make these profiles online. It should be a verification. If you're 16 or you're 18, you have to show ID or some sort of age verification. And if you're under that, your parent has to show some sort of government-issued age verification. This is the only way we could get past this, because it's become very evident that the simple age requirements and filling out your birthday online to make profiles is happening every day, and it's not enough. We need parental controls for those under 16 that are using tablets, iPads, phones, just laptops, anything. We need child versions of apps. So, the incentive to get on these social media apps are not as large, because there's a child version of it, and it's for people like you, children like you. This would all reduce the exposure to harmful content. It slows down the possibility of children interacting with predators, and it offers children the opportunity to develop the way they should and act the age they should, without the possibility of harmful information coming in and creating their innocence or causing their innocence to be thrown out the window. The impact that this would have would be children to have better self-esteem. They're not looking at photos and viewing themselves and comparing themselves to these photos that are edited and unrealistic. The few online spaces that are available for them are safer. They're not going to have these predators online. And then overall, parents can have peace. Parents aren't going to feel so guilty allowing the hour of screen time a day or whatever they feel comfortable with. But overall, there are very harmful effects if we don't act. Cyberbullying is something we see every day online. We hear of all online. We hear of these horrible news reports of children taking their lives due to cyberbullying. And let's face it, people are more likely to say mean things through a screen than they are to your face. So once a child goes online, that chance of them getting bullied rather than in person is multiplied times 100. We just must put an end to children on social media overall. We must report, as my audience, I would ask you all to please, if you have children in your life, if you have children, if you have family members with children and you're aware that they're on social media, just speak to their parents. You as a parent, really take in some of the statistics of the harmful effects of children being on social media. We just need to spread awareness as much as we can. We don't want any more of these easily prevented situations to happen, because at the end of the day, kids are just amazing. We don't want them to be in harmful situations. As adults, we're supposed to protect them, and that's our job. And once we really start spreading awareness and cracking down on these things that are just totally inappropriate for kids to be a part of, then we're creating a better world for them. By protecting our children now, we are shaping healthier social media, digital footprints, digital platforms for future generations. Thank you.